Hey, what's going on? I had to jump on here live to chat about very important topic subject. I'm sure other people are talking about it as well, but I definitely need to chime in and reiterate. So I'm gonna give it a minute. You can feel free to share this. You can send this link to 5 or 10 people. You can tag people if you so choose. I'm gonna be just highlighting and just sharing some information about when a community brings on their own educational disparities. Okay? So, when a community brings on their own educational disparities, we know that there's definitely a difference in different communities, different neighborhoods when it comes to education, when it comes to a college going culture, different things like that. And I just really want to share how it can look when a community brings it on themselves for education disparity. All right. So, my name is Ashley Kennedy, and I am an entrepreneur. But I also work inside of schools. I do some advising. I'm in the college access industry, along with being an entrepreneur and helping people, leaders, and individuals overcome a burnout. I'm sorry, culture. But I've been in the educational field for I want to say over 10 years now, and so I wanted to jump on here and just share because I'm constantly coming across different information, experiencing different information, and I definitely want to make sure that I share it with you. Make sure you send this link and you share with 5 people because it's very important that we really understand this. A lot of times we tend to get information when it's too late, and then you can have a whole bunch of I wish I would have known, I wish I would have did this, if I would have known then what I know now. So I'm really here to help like eradicate a lot of that conversation and talk. So again, just going to be sharing about what happens when a community brings on their own educational disparity. So, if you've never heard of the term or the word disparity, and you can definitely have your teens watch this as well, but a disparity is when you have a difference in level or in treatment. And most of the time, it is negative. It's a negative connotation where something is seen as unfair. So what this can look like very practically is maybe you're giving one person something that you're not giving to someone else. Maybe you are giving a community some different resources or things that you're not giving to another community. Okay, so different things like that. You can hear redlining associated with that. Okay, and so here's the thing: years and years and years ago, we had redlining, and we're definitely still seeing the effects of that. We're definitely still seeing different systemic things. Okay, when it comes to that and resources not really being available to certain communities, there was just a level of inequality when it came to who could buy houses, who could get loans, right, for houses, different things like that. When it comes to the educational system, you can see that as well. You can see a difference in education when it comes to the suburbs and even depending on the suburbs, right? And so the difference between that and inner city, okay? And you can look at this nationwide. So I'll say that. So those can be disparities when you notice differences. Let me give you another practical example. You may go to the suburbs and their basketball team may have more equipment or more modern equipment. They may have a football screen that can do playbacks or fancy things like that you may see in the NFL. Whereas if you go to the inner city, you may not see that in their field, okay, or their stadium. So again, differences, disparities, a lot of times negative connotation. So here's the thing. Communities can actually bring this on themselves. And I'm actually watching this happen actually right before my eyes. So here's the thing with that. You have to recognize when you have a culture of apathy and a culture of ignorance, and how that can really affect resources in your neighborhood and in your area. So back when I was growing up, and I know that makes me sound kind of old, but over 20 years ago, which is, yeah, that's a good amount of time back. I wish that there was the amount of resources and scholarships available to me and accessible, right, as there are now. 20 years ago, social media really wasn't around all like that. It was just getting ready to actually be launched. Things like Facebook, more things with the internet, accessibility, I should say, to scholarships wasn't there. It wasn't the way it is now, okay, 20 years ago. So you'll hear a lot of times people maybe in my generation or maybe older, I'll just stick with millennials because I'm a millennial, depending on who you're talking to. Oh, I wish I had this resource. Oh, I wish I had these scholarships available to me. I wish that I had these programs, these mentorships available to me in the suburbs or wherever you were. I'll probably say suburbs. And so that was then. Now, however, there are more scholarships than ever. I believe millions of dollars was left on the table last year when it came to the Pell Grant and just financial aid that were not taken advantage of. So now you kind of have a flip flop, right? 20 years later, where now you have all of these resources, millions of dollars of scholarships. You have different college access programs to help prepare you for post-secondary education, whether that be vocational training, college, cosmetology school, HVAC, plumbing, welding, all of that, scholarships, programs, things galore to really help set you up for your future. But guess what? Now there is such a level of apathy in a good amount of people in communities where now it's like some resources are now going to waste and are, maybe I would even go as far as to say, being seen as unnecessary. Now, this is a very, very, very dangerous thing. Now, I experienced this today for myself. I'm in the process of planning a particular initiative to really encourage a college going, or I'll say post-secondary education. Okay, when it comes to doing the FAFSA scholarships application, where we really help walk youth, graduating seniors, families, caregivers, parents through that process, step by step by step, on how to get it done. But now there is such a level of apathy with a lot of families, with a lot of parents, a lot of caregivers and students, to where they're not showing up to school. They are not completing the FAFSA at all. They are not applying for college, as you may have seen years ago. So we're just seeing this decrease in numbers when it comes to a college going culture, right? Or a post-secondary education going culture, where there is a desire for more after high school. Again, there are seniors who are legitimately not showing up to school at all, and this is their senior year. Okay, so again, we are talking about what happens when when a community brings about their own educational disparity. Okay, so here's the thing: when you're dealing with college access, when you're dealing with scholarships, nonprofit organizations, different people who are donating, giving, things like that, one of the things that they look at is how funding is being used. They can look at persistence, how many students continue on throughout their education. When money and finances are being provided, they're looking at who is taking advantage, bottom line, of these resources, who is taking advantage of these donations and these finances that are being provided to help underserved, right? You might hear a word like that, that are looking to give money to people who may not have it, whose families may not have it, right? So these are metrics that are being looked at. But a community can bring educational disparity upon itself when it refuses to take advantage of the resources that are being offered and shared with them. I'm going to say that again. Communities can bring educational disparities to their own selves when they do not take advantage of the resources and the opportunities that are made available to them. Let me break it down practically as far as what this looks like. What this can look like is when you have students not showing up to school, which can be for a variety of reasons, but it's a large enough number of students not showing up to school, again, seniors in their senior year, to have people thinking, this is interesting. Do they really need these resources? Do they really need scholarships? Do they need access to these college resources, to mentorship, to vocational training programs because no one is signing up? Or when they sign up, they don't complete the program. So the conversation can very quickly and easily turn into, okay, do they actually want these resources? Do they need them? Or is this no longer something that's needed? And maybe we should send this money, send these resources to a suburban school. Send it to a private school, somewhere else, to someone who's going to use it. Because truth be told, everyone is not broke and poor. Everyone does not have a poverty mentality. So here's the thing, you have to be very careful when your community adopts a level of apathy and hopelessness and holds on to it. You have to be careful when you have a community dynamic that refuses to really tap into all of the resources and opportunities that are being offered to it when it comes to mental health assistance. Okay, so being able to work through trauma. Okay, so you can think and process clearly to take advantage of the opportunities. You have to be very careful when things like this, these resources and opportunities no longer matter to you. Because when people, when donors, when organizations begin to see, oh, they don't really care. They being the people who do not care, who are not taking advantage, okay, of these things, it just starts sending up all types of, okay, maybe this isn't needed. I was told, hey, this particular school has a very low college going culture. And because of that, some of the incentives that I wanted to have, and again, it's still being talked about, and I understand what they're saying because they're looking at the numbers, right? They don't want to do the level of incentive that I would like, or that I proposed. I'll say that, because again, it's still being worked through. So, because that statement was made, it's showing that it's already recognized by people who are not even in the particular schools that I'm in. That hey, it's a low college going culture. That apathy is there. People are not showing up. So why contribute all of these things? That's something to really pay attention to and to take note of. Because again, you can have people crying out saying, we don't have this, we don't have that, we don't have this resource, that resource, da, 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 da. I need this, I need a food pantry every week. No slight if that's what you need at all. What I'm saying is we have to begin to look at the roots and the underlying issues that's continuing to perpetuate this culture. Okay. And so again, when you begin to see, look at and discover all of the apathy that continues, okay, when there is a community, and again, it's not everyone, but when it's a good enough, when it's a large enough number to where the apathy is there and where people are beginning to buy into educational myths. Oh, well, college isn't important. Vocational training isn't important. Post-secondary education isn't important. Okay. But later on down the line, when you get older, right? Maybe even when you have children, you realize, oh, I need to go to college. I need some sort of certification in order to make more money, to make an actual livable wage, right? I've heard stories of students who have ended up, or I've seen stories of students who have ended up in shelters or walking up and down main streets trying to collect spare change, trying to collect money because their parent would not give the information that was necessary for them to complete their FAFSA, which would help get them the most amount of money, financial aid, grant scholarships, loans if you choose it, to go to college to further your education, to build upon your brand, to continue to develop the intellectual capacity, skills, and things like that that you need in order to help you be successful. Okay? Because if you begin to start looking, interviewing, and asking questions of adults who may be, and you can even start later 30s and up, some of the things they wish they would have done differently. One of the main things I hear is that, oh, I wish I would have went to college right after high school. Or I wish I would have did that particular vocational training program. Why? Because after you have children, or even when you get married or you begin to do the family life thing, it becomes harder. The amount of time that you have becomes less because you have more family obligations, you have more bills to pay, different things to do. So the best time to actually go to college to take advantage of these different opportunities is right after high school. And actually now they have different programs. College Credit Plus is called something else now, but I don't remember the technical term for it now, where you can start taking college courses in high school. You can even start doing vocational programs in high school to give you a jump start for free, to cut down on the amount of student loan debt that you could potentially have, because it's rare that someone will obtain a full ride scholarship to a college or university. And then when you get on sports, when I'm talking to my students about sports, that is great. I encourage my students. I never shoot them down when it comes to their aspirations. What I tell them, though, is to make sure you have a full plate of all of your different options. Learn about all the different types of jobs that you can obtain and access in that industry of sports, as opposed to just honing in on being an athlete, a basketball player in the NBA, a football player in the NFL. Because here's the thing, you need multiple options. What happens if you get hurt? You all have been seeing the news just as I have, where people have been dropping cardiac arrest. Or if you get injured, what are you going to do then? You need to have a variety of areas, and that is why exposure to various careers and options is so necessary. We have to make sure that we get out of this fantasy world of things will just be automatically whatever it is we want it to be, or just not caring at all, or not having a plan for the future, where parents or caregivers may not be working with their youth. That communication is lacking between the two. There's no plan there. There is not a desire to continue to complete secondary education, high school, yet alone post-secondary education. We have to wake up. We have to recognize, realize, and understand that it's a lot to this thing. It's a lot to this thing called the game of life. And you need to have all of the information. So again, these different schools have different programs, have specific people that are hired to help, hired to refer you to different resources in a variety of areas, from legal to social work to obtaining clothes for free, different supplies, school supplies, all of that. You have college access organizations that can help you apply for scholarships for free, help you and your family fill out the FAFSA for free, college applications for free. I mean, really just the whole gambit. Excuse me. There are so many free services and opportunities that are available. But again, if you're sitting believing the myth of, well, college, college ain't for everybody. How do you know? Have you gone? And the person that you're talking to, have they gone and tried? Whose experience are you going off of? Are you doing fact finding? Are you going to visit these places? Are you asking questions? Or are you just chopping it up to, I don't really want to do any work or whatever? When you hear the term post-secondary education, that is a term that covers a broad span of resources and opportunities after one graduates from high school, college, and universities, but also vocational training, cosmetology school, going to barber school, HVAC, plumbing, welding, all these different things that are still very much in high demand. All of those things fall under that category of post-secondary education. So you really want to continue to educate yourself on these terms and what these different opportunities are and how it can yield you the amount of money and the type of lifestyle that you desire to have. Because no one is walking around saying, I want to just be broke and poor for the rest of my life. No one is saying that. Yet so many people end up in generational poverty. And it's like, who's going to break the cycle here? Who's going to do something different? Who is going to change the narrative? Who is going to get the help that they need psychologically? Okay. Also, education wise, take advantage of the different resources so you can continue to improve your life. Now, everyone's life and story is different, so apply where necessary. However, I'm seeing it firsthand where it is continuing to be recognized that certain schools, certain communities don't want the resources. Translation, they don't need them. Translation, we're going to start to pull them. We're not going to offer them because, again, people are investing money, they're donating, and they want to see if it's going to work. No one wants to invest into something that's like putting money in a bag with a hole in it. So the apathy that can be so prevalent and present, you really have to deal with that as a community. And it takes a community in order to do it. Because even to be an entrepreneur, because a lot of times you'll have people say that, okay, but if you're not even showing up to school on time or at all on a consistent basis, how are you going to effectively run a business? Because there are still skills and things, and entrepreneurship is still a grind as well. It's not an easy thing. You still have to know how to work with other people, listen to others, do all of these things. It's not a shortcut. So there is no shortcut or shortcuts, plural, around this thing called life when it comes to some of these areas like people think. And so many times, if you are stuck in survival mode, just making it through today, which it can be very much a trauma response, and you're not able to think into your future and maybe get the help that you need, the services or the support, I should say, that you need to take advantage of these resources, then it can be later. It can be, because I'm not pronouncing anything over anyone, but it can be years later where it's like, oh, I need to go back. I know people who have had to go back to school in their 40s, 50s, whatever, just so they can level up for a promotion. They've had to go back, receive a certification in order to get paid more money, because now a degree or a training or a certification was put in the way as a roadblock. Because education is still valued in the professional world. Even at Amazon, they have a CEO, they have an HR department, they have marketing. So it's different types of jobs. However, you may have people that are flocking to the very manual labor part, but you have to think, How long is my back gonna last and my tennis shoes in my feet? Now we have choices, we have options, different people work with their hands, all of that. But you have to be able to weigh out the different options and have a plan. And the apathy has to leave, because apathy will have you missing out on the different opportunities that are available to you at that time that are not even promised to you the very next day. And a lot of times people take it for granted that there is so much free things being handed to them like this. Because the easiest and best time to apply for scholarships for different vocational programs or college universities is high school. Because after you leave high school, and I'm not saying it's impossible, but your chances, the level of funding goes down tremendously. Because after high school, you're pretty much considered an adult. An adult can do what? Work and pay their own bills. So there are, yes, some scholarships, adult learner, all of that, but it's nothing compared to the amount of available and accessible financial aid scholarships and grants that are presented during high school. So you really have to be able to pay attention to what is going on, and the apathy in various communities that really has to be dealt with. The whole I don't care, it doesn't matter, I'm not paying attention, or I'm paying attention to all the wrong things, it's going to cost you. It can really cost you. And it already has. And then you have to be careful, because you can't be apathetic and then turn around and say no one is doing anything for us, or I need help with this, I need help with that. Well, did you take advantage of the different opportunities as they were presented to you? Because again, you want to build generational wealth, not pass down and pass it down, and not pass down generational poverty. Generational poverty, generational trauma, where every generation looks exactly the same way, where everybody is poor and broke. It's been accepted as a norm. The whole struggle gospel, this is just how it is, we struggle. It doesn't have to be that way. It does not. But you have to choose to do something different, to do something about it. There are so many resources out here. There are really genuine people and organizations. I can't speak for everyone in every organization, but their mission is to help. Their mission is to help people be successful, be better, all of that. But again, the more apathy that's there, the more that people procrastinate and delay and ignore these different things, that stuff gonna get pulled, because it's just gonna be seen as, oh, they don't want it, they don't need it, they like it, they like being poor, they like being broke, they like this environment, they like it being exactly the way it is, all of that. And I know that that's really not the case overall. However, that apathy, the lack of attendance at different events, to school, all of that is really, it's not helping. It's not helping at all. It's not helping at all. And if you don't receive your high school degree, you can definitely go for your GED. I know people who have gotten their GED and all of that. But think about this for a minute. Is it easier to complete K through 12 and get your high school diploma, or go and try to cram all of that together for a GED? Which one do you think? And then you have to get preparation in a program to prepare you for the GED. You have to begin to look at all of your different options and how all these roads play out and what they lead to, and really think into the future, futuristically. Absolutely, because without that, you just may end up you wasting a lot of time, you're wasting resources. There are so many people who are just available to help, me being one of them. But what you don't want to do is discourage a group of people who have been hired to specifically help youth succeed, help adults succeed, and no one wants to help. No one wants to listen. No one wants to follow the instructions. No one wants to take advantage. They can get pulled because it's just being seen as they don't care. And then what you get is communities being seen as, in their entirety, as they don't care. It's whatever. The educational level continues to go down. The literacy level is whatever. And so you see all these different issues and factors, and then you see what the community can look like. You see violence, you see theft, you see alcohol and drug use, you see prostitution, you see high levels of dropout rates. All the stuff, the negative things that you hear about on the news can be connected to education, definitely spiritually as well, and mental health with some things. But all of those things are connected. So I just encourage you to get involved in your community, in your neighborhood. If you are a parent or a caregiver watching this, don't let the apathy ride. Make sure that your student is at school. Make sure you are communicating with your teachers. Everything that's possible and necessary to help your student to further their education and be the best that they can be, and access these different resources, please do it. Be very intentional, be very connected in the schools, because I'm telling you, once that word gets out and it's seen as it's a waste or it's not necessary or it's not panning out, working out, and those resources get pulled, that's a different level right there. Different level. Because something else that you can start to see in different neighborhoods, right, is gentrification. Why do you think that is? Who are they trying to bring into the neighborhood? Just saying, something to think about. It takes the community to rise up within itself and make a difference, make a change, work with the different resources and things that have been provided, and to care. Apathy and ignorance are two very dangerous things. So you don't want to be the community, okay, that brings about its own educational disparities. We already had a time where it was at a higher level. But now when one's own community does it, you don't want that. So I just wanted to jump on here and say that I'll probably do a short another time this week, maybe tomorrow, just sharing some scholarships that you should be on the lookout for. Well, actually, I'll just share now. They have a scholarship, and also, let me see what this other scholarship is. So for my seniors, because again, so many solutions are being provided, so many answers are being provided. So where now you really can't even say like there's nothing, because there are many things that are available. So let me see. So I told you about the Dominion Scholarship. Also, check out the BPACF Scholars Program. So again, the B is in boy, P is in professional, A is in African, C as in Cleveland, F is in foundation scholarship. So check those out. Also check out to see if your job offers scholarships. If your parent, caregiver, whoever, variety audience, see if your parent, the place that they retire from, if they offer scholarships to the children of their employees. So your GM, right, your Ford, your Lincoln Electric, your GE, if they're still calling it that, Taco Bell, Burger King, look and see. those are some other types of scholarships and get on it. We're actually, getting real close to the end of scholarship season. I mean, scholarships are offered all throughout the year, but it also depends on when you need the money for as well. Okay, so yes, yes. I would love to hear your comments about this, but just wanted to jump on and share this information because I'm seeing it, I'm experiencing it firsthand, and also wanted to give some resources and some tools as well because we just have to know what time it is. We have to know what to do in the time and take advantage. We really have to wake up. We have to really snap out of it and really just do what's very necessary because, again, no one says they want to struggle their entire life. But I continue to see people from kindergarten up until their late whatever live an entire life of struggle because of the choices that they made, because of some of the decisions definitely that they made that were not wise, and for not taking advantage of just various opportunities that could have helped them very early on in life, in their career, and in their education. So don't be that. Change your community, kick the apathy out, bring hope in. Because something else, whenever you start hearing administrators and people talk down about what's going on, feeling hopeless, that's not a good sign. It's not a good sign at all. Whenever you see hopelessness and apathy, it's not good. It means that people are giving up. I refuse to give up, and that's another reason why I'm sharing this information and I jumped on here so you can know directly what is happening and what needs to be done to fix it, to change it. It's just time to do it. Any help and resources, support that you need, go get it. No shame. No shame in it. Get it so you can be better and that you can continue to pour into you, pour into the community, and help it to be thriving and vibrant and great. So I just wanted to encourage you all with that. Wanted to share this information, give some resources. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you hit that subscribe button for more information and details about education, life, work, different things that I'm sharing about. But stay tuned. Hit that subscribe button. Share this with 5 people. Bye.